Dan's got, I think, a great product for that coming up. Maybe. I don't know.
I can't remember.
Yeah, but
I can't remember. Yeah.
but yeah. So you need to know how to close. You need to know how to negotiate. You need to know how to build rapport and all of that. Okay, in order to become a good wholesaler or businessman. So good questions, Bones. Dope. Sorry.
What up? What up?
What are some general KPIs
There he
that
is.
we need to reach on a monthly basis to find some success? John Johnson building.
You well rested?
No, but that's all right.
He's well fed.
Well fed.
He is that.
It hit me today. There's this really good quote. It's luck happens.
When John says it hit me today, you know something's coming, dude.
Let's hear it, buddy. Let's hear it.
You know something's.
Let's hear it. What's the quote? Let's hear it.
Here's the quote of the day. It's luck happens when preparation meets opportunity. So moral of the story, always be prepared. That's it.
That is true. Always be prepared, John.
ABP, baby. ABP.
It can't ever hurt. It can't ever hurt to have Netflix, even if you don't watch it. It can't ever hurt. It can't ever hurt.
Do you have a smart TV by any chance?
No, this is dumb TV and
Damn.
This is a dumb TV.
This TV doesn't have a GED. Damn.
We'll leave it at that.
Somebody send this boy a Roku.
We live and we
That's
learn.
what you need. You definitely need a Roku.
Yeah, you know.
That's what I got on my TV.
All right, we're not going back. We're not going back to this. We're not going back to this conversation last night.
Is there a creative way to get a deal done on a reverse mortgage property?
Hold on. But prolific Kev asked, what are some general KPIs that I need to reach on a monthly basis to find some success?
I don't know about reaching certain, but I think tracking your outreach. How many messages what lists are you pulling?
Wait, let's back up. Define some success. That's very good. Is success picking up a phone and calling? Is that success? I don't know. Or is success making money? Okay. Closing deals, being able to what exactly do you mean by some success? So, I mean, as a general rule for a wholesaler, take it over, Matt.
No, that is true. Yeah. I mean, I guess it depends. We talked about this yesterday. We always talk maybe in ways where, because we're doing it, we kind of forget. And so I think that's a good point to point out in that sentence is just like, what is your level of success that you're referring to? What is what does success mean to you in that sense? But I think at bare minimum, you need to be tracking your outreach. What are you doing? We had that one person come in here that one day that was sending out 100,000 messages, he said, through his iPhone. Mm-hmm. And then we asked him what his KPIs were. What does that look like? What are those numbers? And he says he hasn't tracked a single data point on those 100,000 messages. Mm-hmm. And so one of the biggest misconceptions or the biggest disservices you can do to yourself is spending all of this time and energy and outreach doing these things and then sitting there at the end of each month going, man, I'm just not successful. I haven't had a single closing. I haven't had a single anything. And then when Dan or anybody up here asks, like, what do your numbers look like? What do your KPIs look like? And you're like, I don't know. I haven't tracked anything. And it's like, what are you doing with your time then at that point? Why are you even wasting any effort doing the things and if you're not going to track the results of that effort? And it's just like anything else, going to the gym and I'm going to the gym every day. What do I weigh on day 1? What weights am I lifting on day 1? What am I lifting on day 5 and 10 and 15? You're tracking your progress at that point to know what's working and what's not working. And so I think at a bare minimum, if you're doing cold calls, what lists are you pulling? Who are you calling? How many phone calls are you making on a daily basis? How many pickups are you getting? How many disconnects are there? How many yes, no's, maybe so's are there? And you're tracking that in almost like an A/B testing type of way. At the end of month, at the end of day 30, I made this many calls to this list. I got this many pickups. I got this many hangups, this many disconnects. Now I need to know, is this even a good list for me to be calling in terms of just pickups in general? Then on top of that, how many of those converted to a second appointment or a closing or things like that? Should this be a list that I spend any more time on than the 30 or 60 days that I've already spent on it? Because again, a lot of people will just think, I have a list of 10,000 quote unquote leads, so I'm going to call on this thing for the next 60, 90, 100 days. And then they'll come in here talking about how they haven't had a closing in 4 months. But it's like, have you done any of your KPIs? Have you done any data points on what you're even calling, who you're talking to, what the actual numbers are of that list? Just like, don't waste your own time. Don't waste your own time.
There's no, like, I wish that there were like some general, and what I always tell people is you have to understand the difference between a key performance indicator and a parameter, right? So the parameters are what you set as the boundaries, and the KPIs are what you do to get inside as you're inside of those boundaries. So my parameter is 1,000 dials, you know what I mean? But then within that 1,000 dials, I'll have my KPIs of 800, or 25, pickups, or 25 contacts. You know what I mean? 300 pickups, 25 people that I talked to. 5 interested potential leads, 2 motivated leads, whatever it is, right? But there's nothing that we can sit up here and give you and say, these are go numbers, go hit these numbers, and you're going to go get a deal. I wish that there was a magic, a magic recipe like that, but there isn't in any business, in any industry. You have to figure out. It's like it's a science experiment, right? You have to figure out what your KPIs need to be in order to achieve success. So it's not so much like we can go tell you what the KPIs need to be in order to make money or to close deals. I wish we could. This would be really easy. But, you kind of have to figure it out. You have to theorize, you have to hypothesize, and you have to experiment. And you have to see what comes out of the equation. And based off of that, then you go back and you go look at those numbers and you say, I'm going to go raise this number. I'm going to lower this number. I'm going to go do this. I'm going to and then I'll watch the second time as the numbers come out again. And then I'll see in that sense if that was any better. Right. And then eventually I'll find that recipe inside of what I'm doing that I figured out. Oh, I hit it here, right? I'm trying to hit a contract a week, and I just realized the numbers that I have to hit in order to get a contract. So let me do that again, and let me see if I get another. Oh, I got another contract. Oh, man, now I know what I need to do in order to go get a contract a week. And then it really does become that simple. But you have to go apply within your realm, within your environment. You have to go figure out and put that experiment together until you identify what those KPIs need to be.
Especially if you're trying to build a business too. Like, anybody can make X amount of phone calls, 1,000, 2,000, and then end up getting 2 deals from that and going, oh, all I got to do is just keep making calls. And it's kind of like lightning struck twice. And how are, like, okay, let's just remove you now from that situation. How can you replicate that? Well, I just have to make another 1,000 phone calls. And it's like, no, that's not why you got those deals, though. There was other performance indicators there on why you got those 2 deals, but you didn't track it to now be able to replicate that to give your best chance of getting 2 more deals next month. Because now you're even though you're calling 1,000 people next month, you're still just throwing spaghetti at the wall and hoping it sticks without even understanding what even just took place. You're just considering 2 closings success, and all I got to do is just do that again next month and I'll get 2 closings. But you're not replicating anything. You're replicating randomness over and over and over again, and eventually that randomness will run out and you won't get lucky in the future. If you're trying to build a business where you are going to be, it's the cliche, corny, like, you want to close 3 to 5 a month, you want to hit those numbers. there's no way to do that besides tracking your KPIs and tracking those data points, because there's just no consistent way to be making those closings efficiently if you're not tracking. There's just it's impossible, especially at the outreach of 1,000 to 5,000, pieces of outreach a month.
So I'm going to throw it a little bit differently.
Let's go.
So his question was what he needs to do to reach some success, to find some success on a monthly basis. He wants to know the KPIs on that. So again, we go back to what some success means to you. Okay. Let's say that you're starting, and it depends on where you are, Prolific Kev. I think you've done some business before. You sound very intelligent, but I don't know. Okay. But let's say you're fresh and you don't know. So the first goal is to get one deal under your belt, okay? Or to get it to a point where you're closing one deal a month, okay? Go find people who are doing that, okay? Look at what their KPIs are, like a Brent Daniels, for example, okay? If you're into wholesaling, that's who I would look at, okay? He's broken it down as far as his KPIs are concerned. But exactly what Dan and Matt said, that's not going to happen for you necessarily, okay? There are too many factors out there, but at least you get the general KPIs down, okay? And then you got to experiment, like Dan was saying. You got to play with it. He might say you need 1,000 phone calls, okay? Or you might need 2,000 on your list of, driving for dollars that he preaches so much, okay? Which is great, by the way, okay? To get to one deal, okay? Well, you might find it in 40 driving for dollars. After the 40th one, you get one. Okay, so it depends on your market, depends on which market you're at. There are too many factors involved, but at least you have some beginning basis of what to look for, and then work it in your market, and follow exactly what Dan and Matt just told you.
Yeah. I do feel like there needs to be at least a bare minimum in terms of you can't just make 5 phone calls a day and then collect data off of that and go, well, I got, 3 pickups and 2 hangups. So now there has to be, like Dan said, there's a difference between the actual KPI and the parameters. There should at least be a minimum to input the data set into in order to gauge properly what's coming out of it. So you need to act like that's part of the success too, is getting to the point where you're consistently doing that minimal amount of outreach on a daily, weekly, monthly basis in order to get the proper results back to identify what's working and what's not working.
Yeah, and I would say,
go ahead,
sorry, I was just going to say, minimum 1 month is not even enough, in my opinion. Yeah. You got to be doing this at least at the very, very bare minimum 3 to 6 months.
Anybody here knows like PPC SEO? Like you can't turn on PPC and then all of a sudden after 30 days go, okay, let's analyze. Like it's a long, you got to wait 30, 60, 90 days for that to fully get up and running and developing. And SEO is a long game too. You can't turn on SEO and go, all right, where are we at in 2 weeks time? All right, well, my website's not ranking yet. This thing's not working. When it's like, no, you got to wait 6 months for that to fully kick
minimum
in, start to see results even, so nothing in this game, it sucks to hear, but nothing in this game is a short game for the most part. You're going to have to put in the time, and there's going to be a lot. Again, it's being a professional in this industry is not just closing, getting contracts and going to the closing table. There's a lot of other elements if you want to stick around for the long run.
So it's always funny to me when I ask someone, I'll go, what are your KPIs? What KPIs are you saying for yourself today? And they'll go, oh, well, I'm making 1,000 dials. And I'll go, that's not a KPI, right? That's a parameter, right? I have 1,000 calls that I need to make on a dialer. That's not a KPI. That's your parameter. That is your goal that you need to work inside. You need to have KPIs that you're setting within that parameter that you're going to go try to hit. And that's when you get done with that parameter, right? Then you go, okay, well, I made the 1,000 phone calls, but I noticed I didn't hit the KPIs that I was looking for, right? I didn't get the pickup rate that I was looking for. I didn't get the contact rate that I was looking for. I didn't get the leads that I was looking for. Okay, so then I go back and I go, well, maybe it means I need to up the amount of calls I'm doing a day. So let's try, instead of 1,000, let's do 1,500. And let's see if my KPIs go up. Now I know that if I do it again, this is how simple it really is, guys. If I do 1,500 calls the next day, and I get the same KPIs, then I know it's not about the parameter, right? It's something that I'm now doing. It's something in my skill set. It's something external that I might be doing that I maybe need to get better at or I need to fix. So let's refine that. Let's work on some things. And then let's go back down to 1,000 now and let's see if my KPIs improve. And then you go, oh, all of a sudden, I got the amount of leads I was looking for, right? And I got the amount of leads that I was looking for out of the amount of contacts, out of the amount of pickup rate. And all of a sudden I'm like, wow, I realize that I just needed to fix that little thing. I just needed to fine tune that little process. And then that went up. So let's try to do that now. Let's go back to 1,500 because I know it's capable of me to do 1,500 a day. So let's go back to 1,500 a day and let's see if my KPIs even improve from where I'm at today. And then if you notice that they go up, right? Then you go, oh, all I have to do is I just have to make sure that I do X, Y, Z when I'm in the call. And I have to make sure that if I want to increase the amount of leads that I'm getting, that I just up this number and just keep repeating this process, and I'm going to get more leads. And I'm going to do that until my time is maxed out. Right? I'm going to do that until my time is maxed out. But you'll notice that now when you get leads out of that contact rate, then you have to have a whole separate set of KPIs for those leads. You have to have a system, right? So this goes back to what I was talking about yesterday. And look, you have to have that wired in. You have to have that nailed down before you ever go and put anyone else in your process. Don't ever stick someone else in you. I don't care if they're trained by somebody else, if you're hiring a VA company, a cold calling company, or what. You need to have your system. Listen to me. You've got to have your system nailed down, figured out, down to a science, so that you know that with my data that I have over here, that it's so rock solid that when I give it to anybody, I can replicate it and I can have them perform within the parameters and the KPIs that I had set originally for myself, so that I can go and do now other tasks. But you only create that when you run out of options, when you run out of time. So I love Savion, Mr. Sumo. I think he is the best example that we have in the community for out of all the young individuals. Because see all this, I'm 17, I'm 18, I'm 19, I'm 20 or whatever. I'm just now starting. How do I start this? How do I start my business? Savion Sumo go follow him on TikTok. Go listen to what he talks about, because his method for how he got started, he did it in the best possible way. He did it in the most and he did it without anybody telling him what to do, which is incredible. But he found the best possible solution to keep the balance that I see people who are in their 30s struggling with, right? They come in here and they want to Savion said, I'm going to keep my day job, right? And I'm going to go hustle and I'm going to go do some deals. Just like what I said earlier, I'm going to go hustle and I'm going to go figure out my method. I'm going to go figure out my shit. And he wired that in. He's wired that in over and over and over. And I've watched him from last year to this year get better and better and better, to where now his deal flow is consistent. His method of delivery is consistent. He's confident when he gets on the phone. He's all these things. He's built all of these skill sets without creating a sense of urgency where he had to scramble to make a check because he had to pay his bills, because he quit his job and he threw everything into an industry that he doesn't understand.
Just exactly what we talked about yesterday.
Yeah, exactly what we talked about yesterday. You can't just throw everything away for an industry that you don't even understand. You go, oh, I'll just jump on this call. I'll get in this Discord. I'll hire a VA. It's like, I kind of understand the concept a little bit. Let's just get it to roll. No, guys, like hustle for some deals, make some money, but keep something that's consistent rolling in, so that you can wire in these skills, so you can nail down a system And see, now he's getting to the point where he's like, man, I know that I'm consistent. I know that I can go get a check if I need to every single month. I know that for a fact. So if I want to make more money in this industry, I'm going to have to take less time out of my job. I'm going to go, I'm going to push that to the weekends. And eventually I'm just going to leave that job. But now he's looking at, doing more stuff in the system, all that. But he's a great example of what I really like to see in those situations, because he did it in the best possible method. He did it in the best possible way. And he's going to smoothly transition into success. So he's already had some success, but he's going to keep transitioning into more and more success. So if there's an example for you as the follow who are just getting started and you're young, right? And you're wondering what to do, this is not employee time. This is not VA hiring time. This is not let's build a system time. This is let's hustle time. And then while we're hustling, we're going to figure out our system and we're going to build it. And then once we got that wired down, then we can start adding in one piece at a time. But none of my companies started out with me just going, let's toss everything into the fire and let's just jump into this. Let's see if we can figure it out. Right? It's like you're putting yourself in. You're like, you're jumping into a battlefield with one bullet in the chamber, and you're like, man, I hope that I can survive. I hope I hit somebody. I hope I hit the right person with this bullet. It's like,
yeah,
chances are low.
It's just
So
setting
set
yourself
up for success.
That's so weird. I was just going to say that. Set yourself. I swear to God, I was waiting for you, and that was going to be my first sentence. Setting yourself up for success is the best possible thing. Again, it's just doing all the things that we were just talking about, the KPIs, all the things that lead. It's all breadcrumb trails that lead to the success. Don't put yourself in a position to have your back against the wall to where now you're making irrational decisions. I talked about it all the time, like when I would first start off as an investor, or like even when I was an agent, and I'd have these people come to me with day one in real estate, and they had these huge aspirations. I want to go buy this dilapidated 6-unit in the building or in the city that's a $300,000 rehab project, and it would be their first venture into real estate. And, because they had all these ideas of what they thought real estate was, probably being a part of communities like this, seeing stuff on TV. And I'd have to have that like realistic conversation with them. And I would ask them the appropriate questions to see just to make themselves realize that they weren't ready for it at that point. And again, setting yourself up for success. Don't take on that property maybe in the first. Learn all the things you need to learn prior to that to set yourself up for the most success possible. So at some point in the future, you will be ready for that, and you will be able to take on a project like that. Because the worst thing that you can do for yourself, like in that scenario, is let's just say they buy that building and all of a sudden they start cracking walls open, and there's things behind there that they physically and mentally do not have the capability of understanding and figuring out. They don't have enough tools in the tool pouch to figure out those situations that are going to take place. They would lose the property and then maybe turn around and go, why did I even want to get into real estate in the first place? Look at this piece of shit property. It bankrupted me. It did this. It did that. I'm going back to my 9-to-5. I'm going back to my regular. Why did I even think this was a good idea? The same way with this, set yourself up for success. Take the time to do the necessary steps so you have the best chance of success. So you don't have that feeling at the end of the day going, why did I think that real estate investing was a good idea? Why did I think wholesaling was so easy and that I could just jump in? It was dumb. I didn't make any money. I spent 6 months and I wasted all, and now I got to go back to my job. Don't do that to yourself. That's the worst possible outcome in this situation. It's okay to fail. It's okay to try and fail and not get contracts and get yelled at on the phone.
We've all had to reset.
Yeah.
We've all had to reset at some point. I know everybody up here has had to reset at some point.
Yeah, man.
Right? I don't know what everybody's story is of their reset, but I know we've all had to reset at some point. Right? And it's like I was telling someone yesterday, I said, hey, you made a mistake. It's okay. But we have time to go correct this, right? But you gotta the other thing is you gotta act now, right? When you realize you fucked up, guys, make sure too that if you realize that you accidentally shot yourself in the foot, make sure you get your ass to the ER and don't say, well, I hope that but the wound gets better on its own. It's like, no, go get it taken care of now before you end up losing the foot. Because then you're gonna lose the foot, then you're gonna lose your leg, and then you're gonna get an infection, you're gonna die, right? So you don't want to you gotta get it taken care of right away. Action, immediate action is so important, right? Don't falter around. Don't go, oh, well, I'm so disappointed in myself. I'm so I don't know what I should do, blah, 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 blah. Like, maybe I'll do this, maybe I'll do that, and then you, next thing you know it, you're a month in, you're 2 months in, and you still haven't made a decision. It's like, if you realize you fucked up, burn the whole thing to the ground and restart. Don't sit there and try to go, oh, well, maybe I can do this, maybe I can do that. Like, no, if you're not making any money, if you're losing money, never keep continuing to put yourself into a position where you're bleeding out, right? And you're not going to go get it taken care of. Like, you need to go get it taken care of immediately. You have to restart. There's been times in my wholesaling business, when I first started my first initial version of my wholesaling business, I didn't quite understand the concepts. I wasn't doing the right systems. And I was like, I don't get it, because I have the skill set. I know that when I was just me and I was doing it, I was killing it. And then now all of a sudden I've put all of this onto myself, and now I'm bleeding out every single month. So I said, one day I just woke up and I said, you know what? I told my partner, I said, fuck it, we got to get out of this thing. What are we doing to ourselves? We need to get out of this. I don't know why I'm waking up every single day going here. Like, we need to reset, restart. She decided that she didn't, she was out. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to reset it. I'm going to press the reset button. I'm going to go back to doing what I know best. And then we're going to slowly build it back up. And it's like, now, look where we are now. So sometimes it just takes a little, you just got to press that button, and you just got to hit the reset. There's no shame in building back up. Don't be afraid to fail and build back up. But,
Hey, I think both Matt and Dan just gave an extended version of, John, what was your quote today?
Luck is when preparation meets opportunity. The moral of the
story. So if you do what Dan and Matt said, you're going to get lucky. That's how you get lucky.
Yeah.
That's how you're going to get lucky.
I just also think there's a sentiment to doing it the right way from the beginning too. I think about back in my union, when I was working in the union, there'd be guys there that they'd be in the union for 5 years, but in that span of time, they kind of just blended in. They didn't do the work that they were supposed to be. They didn't learn the skills they were supposed to be learning. And so we'd end up doing a job that all of a sudden they couldn't perform. And then you got a guy that just started 6 months ago, but because the guy that started 6 months ago started it the right way, he was learning how to use all the tools he's supposed to learn. He's learning how to do the knots he's supposed to do. He's learning all of the different things he's supposed to learn. So when he's presented those opportunities, he succeeds. And then the guy that's been there for 5 years can't. And that guy that's been there for 5 years is now so embarrassed. There's been so many guys that got ran out the door because they got embarrassed, because now they realized, I've been in this game for so long and I don't know anything, or I haven't done what I was supposed to do. Now I can't even ask for help, because people are going to be like, what have you been doing for 5 years? How have you not known this? How do you not? And the guy that did the work in the beginning wasn't too embarrassed to ask for help and to do all the necessary steps. They're in a far better position than he is. So I think that's a big sentiment too, is just start off the right way. Start off on the best. Again, going back, give yourself the best chance of success by starting it off on day one as right as you possibly can.
One thing that you mentioned was just the people that are not afraid to get the help, man. Got to get the help.
Yeah.
Got to get the help.
You got to get the help, bro.
The consultation here.
Some people know that way more than other people.
That's why some people need a partner, right? It's there's things that some people don't know, and they go, and that's why I tell people, I'm like, hey, if you realize that you struggle selling the deal, but you're really good at acquiring the deal, go partner up with someone that you know can sling deals left and right. That's doing it, and just ask them. Just be like, hey man, if I bring you deals, can you sell them and we split the profit on these things? Yeah, of course. Let's do it. As long as you can bring the deals, then let's do it. So don't be like, well, let me go put. I know that I'm not good at this, but let me put another one under contract. Let me see if I can go figure it out. It's like, no, if you know that you're not good at it, then just go find someone who is good at it. Stick with what you're really good at. You can build skills, you can do that, but there's a lot of methods to achieving some success.
Perfect prelude for you guys to bring this to me. Thank you. I just saw my gal Lita Marie in the audience. Ladies and gentlemen, if you guys want to work with our team, reach out to her. She can hook you up. So if you need help, we're here to help.
Bob is locked
there
in.
We go.
He's got access to all the buyers, cash buyers nationwide. All of them. He's got them on
thanks to the one and only John Johnson, right?
He's got them. So if you've got deals, hit up Bob Sadai. He's that guy.
Mock Drake. How to approach a seller who has 2 mortgages on a home but is trying to sell the property for dirt cheap. Matt.
I'm literally as we've been talking, I've been writing up a contract right now, and it literally has 2 mortgages on it as we speak. Dirt cheap as in what? Is it less than the mortgage balances, or is it cheaper?
Or is it dirt?
Yeah, or is it actual dirt? Because why
don't you jump on stage, Mock Drake, and we'd love to hear more about this. But
it's that part of my brain for me, will you? Let me. I want to hear the details. If that's the case, there's only one answer,
right?
There's only one. A deal done on a reverse. Is this being asked again?
No, so we never answered it. Troy, is there a creative way to get a deal done on a reverse mortgage property? If there's enough equity, maybe yes. If otherwise, I don't touch them. I don't know about you, Matt. It's just not worth it.
I was just going to say, it's just one of those, and I hate saying that because I hate, trying to say like, oh, if it's a deal, I pass up on it. But it's sometimes it's just not worth the effort. I got 5 other ones on my plate that are not reverse mortgages that are much simpler, that I can write a contract up on and send it out within 5 seconds.
Mark, good morning. So explain.
Please.
Unmute yourself, please.
The anticipation.
Yeah, if you want. Otherwise.
There you go.
All right. I found this property this morning. The selling price is like $2,000, and the house is valued at $48,000. But I was looking at the information, and they have 2 mortgages that's like $600,000 on it.
How many thousand?
600?
Yeah,
that's what I thought I heard.
It was like $600,000, and then it had a second mortgage on it that was like $320,000.
And the house is worth $48,000. Is that what you said?
Yeah, that's what it's valued at. But they're trying to sell it for $2,000.
Seems right. Seems about right. That data seems
what's holding you back?
yeah.
Mark, those numbers.
I called the agent, but I was confused. I'm like, all right, should I just be like, well, what's that about?
Okay, let's back up. Where are you getting your information from for the mortgages?
I got the information from PropWire.
PropWire. Okay, so you haven't talked to the agent or the seller, so we're not sure exactly. A lot of times there are mistakes that happen, right? In PropWire, PropStream, whatever. And many times when it's like this, it's perhaps because they have a collateral. But think about it. A house that's worth $50,000, okay? No lender is going to come and put a loan on it or a lien on it for $600,000. It's just, they're going to lose their shirt. I'd love to take those loans on and then default, okay? Yep. But no lender is stupid to do that. Okay. So either that property has been used as collateral, maybe, or they have a lot of properties that they own, the sellers. Okay. And PropWire is showing the total amount of loans that they are owed, okay, or owe to lenders. And that's why it's showing up on this property. But there's no way that there has, that property has $600,000+ of mortgages, liens on it. Okay. So that's what you need to check for that particular house. Now, if that house is being used as collateral, you're going to find that out on title, and they better tell you too. Okay, the agent should tell you that. Okay, but if they're selling it for $2,000, what kind of condition is the house in?
I'm pretty good.
Pretty good?
Yeah.
We're saying 2,000, right? 2000.
Yeah, 2000.
Where's this at?
This is in Philadelphia.
Detroit? Oh, Philly.
What do you mean it's pretty good?
There's some sort of judgment on this.
Compared to other properties on the block, is not bad.
So the man himself is on. He could tell you. Groove, can you help Mock?
Yeah, you could send it over to me and Adam, and we'll take a look at it. Philadelphia sounds interesting. $2,000. That's a deal almost anywhere.
Take that out of your left pocket.
I think even in the worst pockets, $2,000 a deal.
I had a deal that was brought to me. The guy was like, "Just take it off my hand. Just give me $500. I don't want this anymore." And the house ARV was, I believe, like 90,000, 95,000, something like that. This is in Chicago, Matt. And I'm like, okay, what's up with this one? He only wants $500. My partner's like, put it under contract. We'll figure it out later. I'm like, no, let's. I don't want to waste time. And so we checked into it. The house was a tear down, number one, and number two, there were water liens.
Chicago,
famous for Chicago.
Yeah, I was gonna say
it was like $25,000 of liens just for water. I'm like, holy cow, no thank you.
We are so crooked. The Chicago Water Department is like world famous crooked for those water liens. There's been so many where they've gone to like court. People have tried taking them to court because it'll be a vacant property that's been sitting there vacant for however long. No water's been ran, no nothing, and all of a sudden there's $20,000 worth of water bills, and then you bring them to the city, and the city's like, well, we charge you a minimum no matter what, and then the minimum is some insane amount of money, and then they just keep doing it, and it's just you rack up $20,000 to $40,000.
Crazy. No.
So did it work out or no?
Oh hell no, we didn't.
And you can't settle with the water department either.
That's the thing. Yeah, I mean, we tried initially, and it was like they were laughing at us, and we're like, yeah, we're done.
Yeah, Chicago's any city workers here in Chicago, they're the worst humans ever. They're just awful. It just doesn't. I mean, I don't know. It doesn't sound right. I'm sure Drew will be the one to tell you. The only other thing too, and you kind of touched on it too, like use as collateral, or if you can go on like PropStream or something and see if they have other linked properties. Maybe it's a commercial like portfolio loan that has multiple properties inside of that one loan, kind of like a blanket loan, or it's just being used as collateral. But the numbers don't really make sense.
Yeah, I agree with that.
$2,000. I mean, I don't.
It's tempting, right?
We could sell that land value.
It's a hook, line, and sinker. I get it. It's definitely worth looking into. Of course, it's just
yeah. You look into it, but be careful.
Is it on the market?
Yeah, they got it for sale. It's been on the market for like 200 days at this point. So
that's another thing too. It's on the market for $2,000 for 200 days. Something's not shaking up. You got to imagine that's piquing a lot of people's interest, and if no one has pulled the trigger on that thing yet.
Hey guys, I'm sorry, I got to jump off, but I'll catch you all tomorrow. Have a great day, everyone. Talk to you guys later.
Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's about that time to get to work. Appreciate everybody coming in. If you have not already, please consider inviting somebody you think would benefit from being in proximity with us. Send them that link, discord.gg/REI Rev. This is the most valuable real estate community in existence. Never forget it. and make sure that you invite somebody you think would benefit from being in proximity with us.